Check 1 2. Okay, so microphone's working. Must be. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Check 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 1 2. That's not loud enough. Midnight Live. Look at Quora, that website. That's how you say it, right? Quora. Quora. And see if I can't use some of my infinite wisdom to answer some poor soul's questions out there. My name is Cameron Fielder. This is Midnight Live. I got little extenders so I can sit over here. My computer's way over there, my screen's way over there. It's kind of hard for me to read some of the text on the screen because the TV's not that close to me. Oh, what do you do? The start of this was a little rough. I couldn't figure out what the problem with my sound was, but I think I got it straightened out now. Probably can't hear me over this music. But yeah, I was thinking we could look at Quora, see about answering some questions. Leave your comments below if you would like to interject with your own answers to some of these comments. What's the date today? It is Saturday. Well, it's technically Saturday. It was really Friday up until an hour ago. Saturday, June 12th. Friday, June 11th, the evening of. As I stated earlier, my name is Cameron Fielder. This is Midnight Live. And, yeah, let's just jump into it, baby. Let me see. Alright, I got Quora up. Let me, turn that down. Alright, so I'm thinking do screen capture and cam. You could kind of see me on that. I don't know how to zoom. I don't know how to get my camera to like zoom. That's going to have to do. You could sort of see me. I'm right here. All right. Let's jump on over to Quora. And I think what I'm going to have to do is turn that off. Okay. Now I can think. All right. So let's just go ahead and check this out. I guess I have two things on Quora. I've been using my other one. What is this? I've been using my other one. I would like to switch to the other one if it'll let me. I can also ask questions straight off the phone. That is an option. All right. Let's do that. That way, because I mean, what difference does it make if you can see the actual website, right? Like, you don't need to see that. And then if my phone dies, we'll switch back. All right, I'm going to Quora. All right, let me find a suitable question. I'm going to kind of pre-read them a little bit. Okay, this was kind of funny. It says, am I homophobic because I only ship straight couples? No, I don't think so. I think that's just kind of your mentality because you're straight. You're just, that's the way you think. Um, it would be homophobic if it was a conscious decision, maybe, but that's not a conscious decision someone's making, right? And the fact that you ask that kind of shows that you're not homophobic. If you're worried about that, you're not homophobic. All right, let's see what else we got here. Glad I could answer your question. My deceased father's stepmom and stepmom. One thing I noticed about Quora is a lot of the people on Quora are probably like foreign or something. My deceased father's stepmom and stepmom says she cut me out of my dad's. What should I do? All right. I mean, I don't. I guess she's saying that the stepmom cut her out of the dad's will, but that is so terribly written. What should you do? Well, does a stepmom have the ability to cut someone out of their spouse's will? I mean, I don't think that's how it works. I think the will is the will, right? Um, Maybe I'm misunderstanding, but I think I think if your father, had it in his will that you were going to get something, I don't think there's anything she could do about it, unless she's breaking the law and committing fraud by messing with the will or something. So I don't know. That story sounds kind of suspect, and it just doesn't. It doesn't. That doesn't sound legal. So what you should do is get a lawyer and explain the situation to your lawyer and see what happens. All right, let's move on. My teenage son stays in his room all day. What should I do? Well, that's pretty common for a teenager. Does he? I mean, obviously you're not going to be able to answer me, so why ask? But I was going to say, does he have friends? Does he, you know? It's you don't want your son to be the kid that doesn't have friends and he's in his room all day. But what should you do? Well, I don't think there's anything you can do to directly change that. You can't force him to become a social butterfly or anything. Um, I don't know. Maybe you could hang out with him. Maybe other people in the family could hang out with him. That would be my suggestion. You know, the teenage years can be rough if a kid isn't a super popular kid and all the other kids in his class have girlfriends and he doesn't have any of that stuff. That's a pretty rough little period in your life there. And I think that's pretty common. To what degree, this question doesn't provide a lot of background info. For all we know, he does have friends and he stays in his room with his friends all day, which look, it's completely normal for teenagers, both boys and girls, to want to have, away time. They don't want to be with the parents all the time. They want to have some sovereignty. So is it wrong for a father to do the grooming of his daughters? Well, like what? Yeah, this answer says it all depends on the context. Yeah, exactly. I mean, there are certain things that I think are completely fine. You brush your hair, I mean, even if you wanted to like put makeup on her or something, like there's nothing nefarious about that, but you know, bodily things, I think it starts getting weird. You start talking about, you know, um, so that all depends on context. Oh, this poor girl. She says, "I'm a 15-year-old girl. Does anyone want to talk? I need friends." Uh, let's see here. Do you think I should still be friends with someone who didn't call me or tried to reach out to me or even bothered to answer my calls for almost 3 odd years, and now they suddenly started calling me every alternate days? No answer yet. Well, look, um, I've had situations like that, kinda, where you don't hear from someone until they need a shoulder to cry on, kind of thing. Um, you don't need to be vindictive. You don't need to end the friendship. I mean, if you don't mind talking to this person, and then you don't need to end it. But if you honestly kind of resent the fact that they didn't want to talk to you for 3 years, and now all of a sudden they're barking up this tree, then you certainly can. It's not like you're in the wrong. I think that's a pretty common occurrence. It's harder, especially as you become an adult. Um, it's harder to maintain adult friendships, and I think there are more things that kind of inhibit. Do I need to turn this up? Is this not loud enough, motherfucker? There are more things that kind of inhibit uh, keeping friends for a long period of time. So, sometimes I read questions on here that don't even sound like they could be real questions. My mom often forgets to give me dinner. She doesn't buy me clothes and stuff. Would this be neglect? I mean, this is either like a kid that's really exaggerating, or, I mean, I suppose it could be true, but it just doesn't. I just don't buy it that there's some kid on Quora ask. You see so many of these questions, it's like they're designed to get a certain response out of people, but they're not real. Um, would that be neglect? Of course, if yes, yeah. Your mother has to feed you, and the buying you clothes. I always have trouble with the word clothes, because you can't say clothes. That's a different word. It's clothes, but the this kind of fucks with me. Buying clothes, like, what do you mean? Buying new clothes? Like, you have clothes, right? Do you not have enough clothes? Like, it's not like your parent is making you go to school without clothes, right? Um, I don't know about that part. That part sounds like you're exaggerating for sure. Forgets to give you dinner though, like, yeah, man, your mother has to feed you. That's a prerequisite for being a parent, is feeding your children. I always get these advertisements that are so scary. Symptoms of lung cancer you may wish you knew sooner. I got a bladder cancer one earlier. It's like, dude, are you trying? Are these commercials trying to make? Please let me know in the comments. Do you also get these kind of advertisements? And if you do, how do you interpret that? I interpret that to be a little bit scary. Like, do these companies know something I don't? Or what is up with that? All right, here's another one that's just hard to believe. What should I do? My mom yells at me and hurts me mentally. I'm 11 years old and I don't feel right. Well, I guess that's not hard to believe. I want a good relationship with my mom, but she just calls me mean. Your mom is calling the 11-year-old mean and says I will always be mean. Well, that's kind of bizarre that an adult Can you imagine calling a kid mean? I don't like it at all and I end up crying or yelling. I would suggest that you take a good, honest look at yourself and how you are and how you act with your mother. Jesus Christ. You quite probably are mean, and that is what she sees. Help her, love her, and be nice to her. It could change your life. Don't be a smartass and think you are better than you are. And wow, no wonder why this reply has 100 views and no likes. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Well, supposing that you are actually a decent kid, you know, you're not like a little terror, then it doesn't sound like, and supposing you're telling the truth about everything here, um, it kind of sounds like your mom's gaslighting a little bit. But if you are a little shit and you are mean to your mom and then you go on Quora and complain that your mom called you out on it, then what the fuck? Stop being mean to your mom. All right. Why do babies often cry but adults seldom cry? Well, babies can't talk, and babies don't understand the problems that they're having, right? Like when you're hungry, you can go get food, go make food, go grab something out of the pantry, go buy food, whatever. You have all these options to feed yourself. A baby can't even ask an adult to get them food because they can't talk, right? So I would just imagine that there are a lot of aspects, and we can't remember what it's like to be babies, but I would imagine there are a lot of aspects that are quite frustrating. They can't really do anything. They can't communicate. Well, they can communicate by crying, but they can't get up and walk around. They can't grab stuff. They're kind of on their own. And it's hard out there for a baby. It's hard out there for a baby pimp. Can a 5-year-old be left alone for a week? I made her 23 adult-sized sub sandwiches just in case, and she seems fine 2 days in. I just wanted my cruise vacation to myself. This is another. So you find these questions that are obviously trolls. And this is actually pretty funny. It's a can a 5-year-old be left alone for a week? I made her 23 adult-sized sub sandwiches just in case, and she seems fine 2 days in. I just wanted my cruise vacation to myself. That's pretty funny. Now let's see who bought it. Oh, hold on. Let me just put you on hold while I dial the authorities. Of course you're joking. I'm not. I hope your cruise floats you right into a jail cell. What's wrong with you? You are a parent. You are not parent material, not a mom, not a person I would want my kids around. Take a long. Okay. This poor lady doesn't realize that this is obviously a joke. When I see those, I don't respond to them because it's like, it's not a real question, What's the point in wasting your time responding to some troll that's not asking a valid question, What do I do if my friend mocks my hard work and efforts? Well, that doesn't sound like much of a friend. Like if you're working really hard on something and you're trying to achieve and they're pulling you down because they're losers, that's not a friend, A friend is someone that can share the joy in your good fortune. And so I would cut them out of your life and find some better friends. What does it mean when a guy says invest in him? Oh man. Well, it really depends on what you mean. Do you mean romantically? Do you mean Like if some guy goes on that Shark Tank show and he's like, got this crazy idea for an invention, then he may just be looking for investors, right? Um, I'm assuming you mean like with regards to the relationship, invest in him. And if that is the case, then he means um, put more energy into the relationship, put more time and energy, and probably love into the relationship. What do you do when you hate the one you love? When you hate the one you... That sounds like a rock song. When you hate the one you love, and you love the one you hate, that's fate. That's fate. What do you do when you hate the one you love? Unfortunately, that is not that's a toxic relationship. And, I've known people, I guess I've been in a couple of these. I didn't hate the person, but I think maybe they hated me because of what a douche I was. And, yeah, that's toxic, man. It's like you don't belong together, but that feeling of attachment and codependency is what's keeping you together. And it's going to end eventually, so you might as well rip that Band-Aid off and start the healing process early, right? Before it gets any worse. All right. How do I make sure that no one ever tells my 16-year-old granddaughter that I am not her mom, but her grandma? Holy shit. My oldest daughter, now age 32, of 5 kids, deliberately had a baby as a teen. I told my 16-year-old that her mom is her older adult sister. I had a friend in college that had this kind of situation, but he found out when he was a kid. He found out when he was like 10. Well, I mean, what... Don't you think she has the right to know who her real mother is and that you're actually her grandmother instead? I mean, why do you think that is going to affect poorly on you? Or change your relationship with your basically your daughter, your biological granddaughter, but you raised her. Um, I think that you should probably tell her. And I don't think any harm can come from it, but I think if she finds out from someone outside of you, then a lot of harm can come from that. I think she's going to feel betrayed, and she's going to have trust issues moving forward. Trust issues with you specifically. So I would say, I would say that you should get ahead of it and tell her the truth. And I don't think it's going to change how she feels about you at all. Like I said, I had a friend that had this exact situation, and yeah, he was told when he was like a kid, but I don't think he ever felt differently about who his mom was. It was almost the same situation. It was actually his mom's sister was his real mom. His aunt was his real mom. And but anyway, yeah, I mean, I would tell her. All right, let's move on. How do you proceed in life when no one has any hope or expectations in and from you? Oh man. Yeah, I know how that feels. How do you? I take it one day at a time. It's not always easy, but obviously you have to try to stay positive as much as you can. You have to... takes a lot of effort, and it's not foolproof. I'm not very good at it, And I know even the people that are the best at staying positive have low points, but yeah, try to stay positive, try to envision what could be instead of what is, and just keep chugging forward with the hope that something will change at some point, you know. Um you can't, you got to be undeniable in this world. You got to just keep going, and you can't allow anyone to tell you no, right? You just got to keep going until something works. How do I love my sister when she is such a selfish, horrible person? Well, you know, you don't give any examples for why your sister is actually a selfish, horrible person. But let's assume for a second that she is a verified selfish, horrible person. Um, you don't have to love her. And I think if your sister is a selfish, horrible person, maybe you shouldn't love her. I don't know. Selfish, horrible people tend to hurt other people, you know, regardless of whether they're family or not. So I would definitely, you know, keep her at arm's reach if she's actually a bad person. And maybe it's a good thing if you don't love her. I know that sounds like terrible advice. I mean, I don't know. How do you answer that? Like, what makes someone a selfish, terrible person? Should you love family members unconditionally? Like, you could probably have a whole episode talking about that, if you should love family members unconditionally. There has to be a point though at which someone crosses a line, and there has to be a point where it's too much, right? Um Let me turn this, get me more centered. There has to be. So, you know, I don't think, I mean, what if Ted Bundy, is that the guy's name? Ted Bundy? Is that the guy from Married with Children? I think that was Al Bundy. All right, Ted Bundy. What if he's your brother, you know? Like, should you love him? What if your brother's Charlie Manson? Should you love him? I I don't know. So I don't think you have to love your sister, but there's no way for us to know if your sister is actually a selfish and horrible person. Maybe you and your sister just don't get along because you're little kids, and uh, young siblings fight a lot. You know, who knows what the truth of the matter is. My mother-in-law is refusing to attend our wedding reception as she believes she should make all the decisions, dress, cakes, venue, etc., while we pay for everything. She is forbidding other relatives from attending. What is the best way to handle this? Hmm. Well, obviously, your mother-in-law doesn't have the right to decide who comes to the wedding, nor does she have the right to decide anything about the wedding, for that matter, beyond what she's gonna wear. Um, what is the best way to handle it? It sounds like you put your foot down, because you say the first sentence says she is refusing to attend the wedding. So it sounds like someone put their foot down, and now she's throwing a tissy fit. Hissy fit? Is it hissy fit or tissy fit? I don't know. I don't know. Throwing a little hissy fit over this fucking, over the fact that she can't control everything. I think you handled it right. You know, you got to put your foot down. You got to say, um, this is how it's going to be. You don't have any control over it. And if she doesn't come to the wedding because you did that, then there's nothing you could do about it. But you can't have your mother-in-law forbidding other relatives from coming and controlling what the dress looks like and what the cake looks like and where the venue is. You can't she doesn't have any right to control those things. You know, it's your wedding, right? Now, if you're the groom, then that means yeah. So she's not even paying for it because I'm pretty sure whoever wrote this is a female, which means her mom is paying for it. So fuck that lady. Does this guy like me? We met at school and he calls me a weird nickname to tease you. Yeah, he likes you. He gets into a lot of fights outside of school and often comes to my house wanting me to help his scratches. He is somewhat playful and has no friends. Aw, that's kind of cute. Isn't it? Like that sounds like the start of a cheesy little romance movie. He gets in a lot of fights outside of school and comes to my house wanting me to help his scratches. How old are these kids on Quora, by the way? I mean, what kind of fights is he getting in? You know, when I was in high school, when two dudes got in a fight, like it wasn't scratches that they needed help with. They were fucked up. He's somewhat playful and has no friends. Poor guy. Yeah, I think he does like you, and I think this is the start of a notebook like romance, you know? He could be the Gosling and you could be the McAdams. All right. For all I know, those kids are like 5. Uh, let's see here. My only brother wants me to give him a kidney. My hesitation is because he has already had a transplant, and since he won't take care of himself, it died. I also have 4 children, and I'm afraid that they might need one in the future. Ooh, this is a tough question. Well, so you're afraid that one of your children might need a kidney in the future. I think it's far more likely that you would end up getting a kidney from one of your kids, right? I mean, do you guys have some sort of genetic kidney disorder? Um, I don't think you're obligated to give your brother a kidney, especially because he got one and fucked that one up too. Um, but you just have to realize that like by saying no, you're kind of ending your relationship with your brother, I think. I don't know if there's any coming back from that, you know. I mean, he'll probably die, right? He probably only has the one kidney. What a terrible choice you have to make. I'm really sorry about that situation that you're in. Um, the best thing I could say is that you're not obligated. Dogs are barking. And I think if I were in your position, given the fact that you have children, and it sounds like you guys might have some sort of genetic kidney disorder or something in the family. I think if I were you, I wouldn't. I would keep my kidney, you know, just in case I need it for a rainy day. Yeah. That's rough though, man. Like how do you tell your brother that you're not going to give him a kidney? Really brutal. What are these dogs barking at? I've just turned 31 and I cannot find love no matter what I do. It's literally as if no one will ever want me. What should I do? Well, look, I'm 33. I also can't find love. This is just how it goes. Love is not something that comes to you. Love is something that you go and give. It usually gets returned. Yeah. I mean, sort of, but some people have a much harder time finding love than other people. And an answer like that for those people is kind of like useless. It doesn't really do anything to accomplish much. I do think that if you're sitting at home and you're not actively doing anything to find love, then you can't be wondering why you don't have love. I also think that it's okay to be single. I think that too many people have a problem with being single. Too many people have a like a codependency on relationships kind of thing, and I think I think they need to be okay with being single, you know. I hope the sound's okay. I've had to turn it up a couple times. I don't know if it's like the angle that I'm speaking into this microphone at or what, but should kids be allowed to come back home once they leave as adults? Well, why not? I mean, look, if you want to charge them rent or something, or I mean, even if you don't want them there, if that's fine, but like, there shouldn't be just a general rule. Like, it's gonna be case by case. It's gonna vary based on the adults, right? Well, I guess they're all adults, but based on the parents. Um, I don't see a problem with it. I think you should charge them rent, or maybe if they're going to school, you know, and uh, achieving a certain standard, then they get to live there rent free. But yeah, I think it's kind of fucked up when parents are like, "You're 18, you're on your own, Jack. See you later. Get the fuck out." It shows their true colors, like they never wanted the kid there in the first place, kind of thing. Oh man, it is apparent I have to put down my 14-year-old dog soon. I'm not a person who thinks pets as people. I'm a realist, but I am having a harder time than I thought. I don't want to cry in front of the vet, Tex, but the thought makes me tear up. Why? Oh. Do not leave that room. Your dog will spend its last moments desperately searching for a friendly face in a room full of strangers. I've cried like a baby in front of everyone every time we had to put a pet down. There's no shame in it. Yeah. It's rough because my sister is in that same position right now. She has a dog that has cancer and it's kind of spread everywhere. It's in her lungs now. Um she's probably about 2008. She's probably about 14 now. Might have been 2007. And it's brutal, man. It's I'm going to be really sad when I lose my dog. Luckily he's quite young still, but the day will come, you know. Okay, listen everyone, I am 40 years old and I ask for advice and all I get is mean comments like grow up or leave my house. I am grown up and I can't live on my own. I have a learning problem, so either answer me nicely or get reported. What's what's your question, bud? I'm going to answer this one. Maybe that's just him making an announcement, but it's like he should have asked his question there too. All right, let's see here. Got to find some more questions. My phone is going to die, but I have Quora on there too, so I'll just jump over. My husband wants to go to his parents' house every weekend, and when we don't go, his parents start calling and telling us they miss us and need to see us. How do I break away from this situation? God, that's needy as fuck. that they call and telling you they miss you. I mean, every weekend? Hmm. I don't know. Maybe there's a compromise you guys can make. Maybe you could do every other weekend, 2 weekends a month, you know. Um or maybe if he gets 1 day a weekend, well, I still think that's too much, but maybe the other day you get something. I don't know if both of you guys have both days off on the weekends. That does seem to be a little bit too much. It seems like he has kind of a strange relationship with his parents. Maybe these people aren't that old, and maybe he's like 20 years old. It's a bit of a mama's boy. Who knows? But yeah, I would say 2 weekends a month is fair. You know, make that compromise with him that 2 weekends a month. That's it. Is it normal for parents to talk bad behind their child's back with their spouse, or to the? That doesn't sound bad. I mean, that doesn't sound normal. Parents often discuss their children together. I would not call it going behind their child's back. Parents are usually interested in the welfare of their children. If you're uncomfortable with it, talk about how you feel to your parents. Yeah, I mean, it really does depend on what you mean. Like if your parents are like behind your back talking shit about you and snickering about it, then yeah. Well, then no, it's not normal, and yeah, it's fucked up. But like the commenter said, if they're just discussing you and maybe something you did wrong or something, then yeah, that's normal, obviously. Ba-ba-ba. Let's find another one. My mom. I think I already read that, yeah. Okay, let's see. How can a 20-year-old run away and follow their dreams? Well, it depends what your dream is, right? Some dreams are a little bit harder to achieve than others. Every dream is going to have a different opening that you're looking for, right? I would say that here's the thing. Like the old trope you see in movies and stuff where they pack up their bags and move to Hollywood to become a great big star. Like, okay, so say your dream is acting, and let's say you're 20, you're gonna skip college, and or maybe you already graduated college. Who knows? Who cares? And you head to Hollywood. Well, you have to have a place to live, right? So you have to either have a bunch of money saved, or you have to have a job already lined up before you go there. I mean, you're not going to be able to just become an actor in day one, right? So where are you going to live? And you're not going to be able to get jobs acting if you stink because you've been living out of your car, right? So it's obviously very specific to what you want to do. You have to be thinking about how much money it's going to be costing you to live wherever you need to live, wherever is most suitable for the dream that you're pursuing. Um, you have to have all this stuff thought out beforehand, right? I would say that if you're 20 and you're thinking about moving somewhere for a dream, or who knows. I don't know what you mean by run away. You're 20 years old, so what? Run away from what? Like, you can legally just leave. No one's holding you against your will, are they? Um, but yeah, it obviously depends on what your dream is. It's really easy to get caught up in the glamour of, like, I'm just gonna go to this town and not know what I'm doing and just figure it out when I get there. But you want to kind of think this stuff through. You want to call places ahead of time um, about employment. You want to line all this stuff up as much as you can, and that way you don't just crash land when you go somewhere or when you try something new. That way you have some sort of a plan laid out. And, you should run your plan by other people, by older people. When you're 20, you don't know that much. Let older people that have more experience help you figure out what the best way to do this is. Despite what you may think, a lot of people will give you advice that's good. That there's a natural tendency for, I think, younger people that are gonna try something, something bold like being an actor or whatever it is. There's a tendency for some people to give bad advice, and there's a tendency um, for people to kind of almost judge you and judge your dream. They want to shoot down your dream. They want to act like the thing that you're striving for is an impossibility. Um, and I think because of that, there's a tendency for the young person themselves to not want to really share their dream with other people because they know how they're going to be viewed. But yeah, I mean, you need to, I feel like the people that ask these questions need to be more specific, because it really does matter what your dream is, and you got to make a plan based on that. And every plan is going to be different based on who you are and what your dream is and the nuances in between, right? What does it mean when a rosemary burns and when holding it in your hand? I mean, wouldn't it burn you? Wouldn't anything that's burning? Maybe, whoa, you're just saying it burns your hand when you're holding it. Well, maybe you're allergic. I don't know. I think probably allergies or something. Rosemary, is that like that's not like poison ivy, right? Where it just fucks everyone up, so maybe it's an allergy. I find myself hurting my partner often. I apologize for one thing and then do something else to hurt or annoy them. It hurts me knowing I make them feel this way. Should I break up with them? Well, it depends in what you mean by hurting them. It could be that you're overreacting and you're not really hurting them. Like, it's not, these things that you do aren't really that big a deal, and you're ultra sensitive to it. Or it could be that you're a jerk, and then I don't know what the answer is. I'm a jerk. I don't think it's I don't know if it's the jerk's job to do the breaking up with, or if it's the jerk's job to get broken up with for being a jerk. Just depends. If you're living in like shame and guilt over how you treat them, though, then maybe you should, I mean, if you're like abusing someone, then you definitely should. So it really depends. Should I join the family business in Indonesia or live in a developed country like I used to and do a job there? I'm not close with my father. His business is very old school, and my father is a control freak, reluctant to change. Please advice. Ugh, hate when I get vape juice in my mouth. Well, look, you got to do what's going to make you happy. You say here that you're not close with your father. Why is that? Is it just because he's a control freak? Maybe if you start working with your father, you'll end up being closer. And maybe after he sees that you're capable, over a period of time, you're not going to be capable right away, but maybe after you prove it to him over the years that you could do this, maybe he won't be such a control freak at that point. I mean, it's the family business. If you don't have any siblings to take over the family business, I would suspect that your father will be really intent on teaching you how to do it right and slowly giving you more and more control so that when he's gone, you can run it, right? You know, that's usually how that shit works, right? Oh, I'm getting the farm when old Pappy dies. And Pappy takes the time to show you how to plow and rake and do all the other farm bullshit and cows and slaughter the pigs, whatever. I don't know if that's ranch shit, but so I don't know, man. It really depends. I think if you're an only child, I think what do you have to lose? Give it a shot, you know. Give it a shot for a little while. See how you feel about it. I think especially if you're an only child and your dad is looking at the possibility of having to just sell the business to another group or another person upon his retirement. I think in those circumstances, he's definitely going to look at this as like an important thing for him to teach you how to do, an important thing that you'll be able to take over when he retires and continue the family business, you know, and then teach your son and so on and so forth. So that's what I say. Now, of course, if you just can't stand your dad, like, you're not obligated to take over the family business. You're not obligated to live in Indonesia or anything. So you got to do what's going to make you happy. It doesn't sound like that's going to make you happy, but I think you should be open-minded to it. And I think the control freak thing goes away as you prove to your parent that you're more and more capable. You know, every young kid feels like their parents are control freaks because because the kid still doesn't know what the fuck they're doing, you know. And the parent, it's hard for, and I know you're not like a kid, you're probably 20 or something, I don't know. But it's hard for someone that knows how to do something to watch someone else struggle. And it's hard for someone that knows how to do something to watch someone else do it incorrectly, you know, without taking control of the situation. So that's what I would say. All right. How should I tell my parents that I am a demi-girl? I don't even know what a demi-girl is, nor do I care. Let's move on. All right, my fiance constantly argues about my past relationships that were before I ever knew him. Why? He sounds like a jealous type. Um, what is there to argue about? Does he just get jealous at like the amount of people that you've been with? I'm assuming it's a he. Is it a he? Yeah, it's a he. Or are you guys literally arguing about the circumstances that led to your breakups and you know all the intimate details of those relationships? Because that how he doesn't have footing to argue about any of that. You would know better than him. He wasn't even around. So that's weird. I think by argues you mean that your fiance kind of confronts you about your past relationships, maybe makes comments about, oh, well, yeah, you dated that guy. You know, it's not really arguing. Anyway, yeah, I would say your boyfriend's probably a jealous, insecure person, and he needs to work on that. You know, your past relationships have nothing to do with him or the present. You know, we all have exes. It's not like you're the only one that has exes, so my daughter was invited to another child's birthday party that specifically says no gifts on the invitation. Should I? I mean, it specifically says no gifts on the invitation. So, Mm-hmm. Hmm. Well, so this comment basically says, I'll just read it. My son had a good friend who did this once. The mom actually put on the card that while she would love to be able to have a party for her child, she could not afford it. But if we would come to the skating rink and spend time with her daughter, each parent would have to pay the entry fee for their own child. That would be our gift to her. She would have cake and ice cream. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, oh, that's sad. No gifts on the invitation. Man. Yeah, I guess you should bring a gift. You know, when I first read that question, I was thinking, like, well, it specifically says no gifts, but there's so much minutia when it comes to human behavior. And just the idea that, like, they put no gift, but like it's still probably a good idea to give a gift. I mean, a lot of that stuff goes over my head because I'm autistic, so it's just like, yeah, no gift, sweet. But I guess they should bring a gift. Dad always tells me to do the math all the time, making me feel bad even though I talk to him about it. I got whatever I asked for. That doesn't mean I'm happy. I'm scared to express my feelings. They don't understand the pain I get. What should I do? This is such a weird. What? Dad always tells me to do the math all the time, making me feel bad even though I talk to him about it. To do the math? What is that? What do you mean like that's a saying, right? Like, oh, we'll do the math. But what there's nothing really mean about that. There's nothing do the math when you tell someone to do the math, it's like telling them to figure it out, you know? To add it up, to use their head. I got whatever I asked for. That doesn't mean I'm happy. I'm scared to express my feelings. I don't know. That kid sounds like a pussy. I'm sorry, but what the fuck? All right, let's do a couple more of these, and then I'm gonna wrap it up. I'm starting to get a little headache. I think I've been on for maybe an hour. Why are drawings of Jesus often depicted as a white person when he was born in the Middle East and was most likely of darker skin? Well, I mean, because they're European, right? Every, everyone probably depicted Jesus more similarly to how they looked. And most of the artwork probably came out of Europe, would be my guess. It's not like Jesus is highly worshipped in Africa or Asia, right? So there's like a few places in the Middle East that he might have been worshipped for a while, but by like the 600s, Muhammad was going around and taking over and spreading Islam around, spreading this new religion around. So yeah, I think it's because Christianity kind of became like a European religion, and Europeans are white, and pretty simple, obvious answer. All right, let's do this last one. How do I deal with my 19-year-old daughter breaking off our relationship because I won't accept her relationship with a 13-year-old? What? Oh, man. Well, uh, it's illegal for a 13-year-old to be dating a 19-year-old. Now, I don't know if you should turn your daughter in. I guess you should. I look at it differently because it's a boy is the one that's underage, and if I was a 13-year-old boy dating a 19-year-old girl, I'd be ecstatic, to say the least. That's fucked up. It's fucked up. That's fucked up. How do you handle your strain? I mean, what? You're supposed to be okay with your daughter, like, raping a minor? You're supposed to be okay with that? Your daughter is out of control, man. Your daughter is fucking insane. How do I deal with my night? You gotta fucking report her to the authorities, I guess. I mean, yeah, she's a pedophile. Unbelievable. See, some of these questions make you think, like, this can't be a real question. There's no way that there are people out there like this, but maybe. All right, let's do one more. I said that was the last one, but let's do one more. We broke the hour mark, everyone. Woo! All right. By the way, subscribe to Cam Tunes. I'm working on a little video right now for Cam Tunes. Got a lot of content coming to that channel. And I'm going to do more of these, too. Do the Cam answers. All right. What should I do if he or she doesn't accept my birthday gift? Well, we don't know what your relationship with he or she is. So I'm going to assume the person doesn't like you if they don't accept your birthday gift. And I don't just mean romantically, but I mean romantically and platonically. Because why wouldn't they accept a birthday gift? Did they tell you why they didn't accept your birthday gift? Is it just because they didn't like it? You know, if that's the case, then they're a douchebag, and I just wouldn't give them a birthday gift. Trying not to, I got indigestion. It's making me fucking yawn and want to burp and shit. Burp right into the microphone. Something about doing these live streams gives me indigestion. Well, I answered quite a bit of them. We got an hour in. It has been a real pleasure joining you on this fine evening. And consider liking the video, subscribing, commenting down below about all the great, fantastic advice that you've heard me give out here. I am Wiseman Cam, and I will talk to you later, my babies. Peace.
Yeah.